So I just had the weirdest 24 hours. Um, it's Monday night. Passover's coming up, and Jesus came into Jerusalem, and it was cool. That was a great event, and I know that people are still talking about the way that he came into Jerusalem. But just it's weird, man. There's this thing that sticks out in my mind, and I'm never going to be able to eat figs the same way again. I just I don't know. Jesus made this point, and it's a weird point, and I've been thinking about it all day. Last night, as we're coming into Jerusalem, we get up, we start coming down the Mount of Olives and looking at Jerusalem, and it's just laid out before us. And he starts crying, he starts weeping over it. Like Jesus just wants, like, he says, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, you who stoned the prophets, like, would that I could gather you in my arms. And that's been in my mind. Like, he's actually heartbroken over a city that he's been to a couple of times. Like, that's kind of weird. But then he's hungry. And I know this is like some weird side story that no one else is probably really going to talk about. But he sees this fig tree, and he's hungry, and he goes up to it, and he says, and he sees there's no fruit on it, and he says, may you never bear fruit again. And in my mind, I'm just thinking, like, why are you going to say that? Like, it's not even the season for figs, Jesus. Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you expecting to find figs on a fig tree when it's not even that season? And then you're cursing it for it not giving you what you need. That's just bizarre, man. And then from there, it got crazy. We go down into Jerusalem, and he ends up going into the temples. And this is like prime Passover season, so you have all of the people there bringing in their lambs for the Passover. And see, one of the things that we as Jewish people know and just kind of always accept is that when you bring your lamb, a lot of times it's not good enough for the temple leaders. And so they say, no, this isn't good enough. There's a blemish here, a spot here, or, it's not quite white enough. And we've just kind of gotten used to it, that we just kind of bring our best, and that the leaders reject that, and they say, no, that's not good enough. But here, you can pay for this. You can pay for this lamb here that's blessed and is a proper Passover lamb. So they'll take our lamb and we'll exchange it in, and then we have to pay a little bit to get an actual approved Passover lamb. And so this is going on because it's Monday. Normally the lamb selection day was the day before, but these are all the people that are still coming in from their journeys to Jerusalem for the Passover, still doing it. They're still exchanging their lambs, and they're still getting the temple approved lambs for their Passover here now. And so Jesus just kind of loses it. Like, I've only seen him like this a couple of times, but he had some blood vessels going. And he loses it and just gets these cords and makes a whip and starts turning over the tables and driving them out. He says, my house is supposed to be a house of prayer, and you've made it a den of thieves. Like, that's just in my brain now. That line. I don't think that's ever going to leave. And he drives them out. He's just going full bore on this, and everyone's, it's crazy. There are lambs going everywhere. There's tables flying everywhere, coins rolling across the floor. You have guys scrambling after the coins. You have guys scrambling after the lambs. You have people just scrambling to get out of the way, and Jesus is losing it on this. And then, man, that whole situation. I after that calmed down and we got out. I turned to Peter and I said, "Man, this is this is some crazy stuff. I can't believe we got out there alive. And Peter just kind of looked at me and said, yeah, but it's his house. So as we're walking back to where we're staying out in Bethany, we're going back the same way we came in that morning. And we look and we see this fig tree just completely withered. And I just can't believe it. Like, Jesus said that, 6 hours ago. And yet this thing is completely withered. Like, it's it has already sprouted. It's been growing for a little bit, and it just is withered. And so we're all shocked by it. And Jesus' only response to us being shocked is saying, if you have faith, you can move mountains. If you just have faith in me, you can move mountains. And see, that's a great story, but it doesn't end there, because Jesus decides to bring up fig trees again. And I don't understand this. I'm not going to be able to eat a fig now, because all it's going to do is remind me of today, of seeing everyone driven out of the temple, of seeing the fig tree withered. It should not have happened. Of seeing Jesus losing his mind because of practices that we've been doing for years in the temple. And he tells a story that he says that when you see the fig tree sprouting, then you know that summer is near. He said, so it will be at the end of times. And now I'm thinking, okay, what does that have to do? Like, if that's going to be the end of times, what does this fig tree sprouting have to do? And what is the fig tree? And here's all I've got. And I know that I'm going to write about this, and it's, I'm going to throw together something, some kind of letter or book to really kind of process through this. But here's what I got for the fig trees right now, and why Jesus keeps calling it. It's because I think he's saying that the fig tree is talking about us, about Israel, about who we've become. That he returned and was expecting to see us. That everything I've experienced over the past 2.5 years has been knowing and realizing that Jesus is the Messiah. And yet he walks into the temple as the Messiah, and all they could do is just wheel and deal. And so all I could think of is that my salvation, that our salvation as the Jewish people, as Israel, doesn't lie in getting the right Passover lamb, but it lies in finding the Messiah as a lamb. And that's all I can think of. And I don't know how that fits in. Like, why is Jesus trying to show himself and reveal himself as this vessel of salvation for the world, and yet we all know what happens to Passover lambs?